For the second time, it's incredibly important for him.
Check out this track map. We go across the start-finish line, Todd, down into turn 1 and 2. They call that Big Bend. Then it's the left-hander. Then it's the right-hander. Another fast straightaway up to the uphill turn number 5. Then we're going to shoot downhill to 6.
Come downhill to 7, where you got to keep that speed up, get down that front straightaway so you can get to turn 1 and maybe outbrake the guy in front of you. That's an important corner, turn 7.
You know, I talked to some of the drivers, and they talk about the best passing zone, which is getting into turn 1. But that's made very difficult because the exit of 7 is so fast. You got to deal with some aero. You got to deal with how narrow the road is. It's really an interesting racetrack and a lot of fun to watch.
Starts and restarts have been imperative here the last year, especially with that land rush down to that first corner. As we see trucks on the racetrack, all 33 trucks will be on the racetrack for this practice session, and they got 50 minutes of time to figure it out. Yesterday, during the practice session for the ARCA Menards Series, we saw several incidents. We'll see if the truckers have a little bit better luck as they try to figure out this just under 1.5 mile road course.
This is my kind of road course. You know, as a oval racer growing and it's just fun to watch these drivers figure it all out.
That's the one thing that we heard from every single driver after last year's race, how much fun that they had on this racetrack. So I got a question for you, Mike. Were you any good at road courses?
I wasn't bad. I had a couple top 5s, and I'm a Todd, I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm a worldly road racer. I've run Le Mans. I've been in Spa, Belgium. I've raced all over the world in a road.
Here we go. So, here we go. World-class road racer.
Just might need to set back.
Thank you, Eric, and good morning. We'll keep an eye on Ty Majeski. I had a chance to talk with him yesterday, and he said he really hopes the trend of having a good race and following up with a bad result comes to a close here this weekend. He said this racetrack was where they got their season moving in the right direction a year ago. He was the runner-up, of course, to Corey Heim, but he told me they brought something very similar in this 88 truck for the weekend. And I asked him, how has he emerged as one of the best road course racers in the truck series over the years? And he said, I just liked that it required a very different discipline and focus, and I have really taken to it. But he said qualifying is going to be critical this week. Starting up front with how hard it was to pass a year ago. Josh Sims?
Well, today is going to be an uphill battle for Christian Eckes in that 91 truck as he's dealing with a grade 3 lateral sprain in his left foot. The injury happened back at San Diego when he was leaving the track. He stepped in a hole. That left foot rolled the wrong way. He immediately went to the infield care center. It swelled up shortly after, and he left California on crutches. As far as today, he told me that left foot is still very unstable. It's difficult to walk. You'll see him moving around the garage on a scooter, actually. Well, he just went out on track. As far as behind the wheel in the truck, he tested it out in the sim this week. He said he doesn't have the strength in that left foot like he needs, but he's got enough to be able to compete. His biggest concern is just how he's going to feel at the end of the day. It's managing the pain. He can race. There's no backup driver. He has every intention of finishing this race, but he simply told me he has no idea what he'll be able to do in the truck and how he's going to feel at the end of the day, guys.
Thanks, Josh. And the good news for Eckes is he's up about 130 points over that cut line for the chase, so he does have some buffer with 5 races to go. Even if he has to sacrifice some performance this weekend to just get through it, he's got some breathing room.
Now, the thing about being in a racetrack is your concentration level is so high. You can be injured, whether a broke rib or sprained ankle, whatever it is, and you really don't feel it. Like, I don't know about you. I've raced with broken ribs, and when you're out there racing, you just don't feel it. Under caution, you're like, oh, man, that hurts, you know, and you go back racing and forget about it.
How about Parker Kligerman, who is actually part of the ownership group and really one of the reasons why this race was able to be put together last season. He wasn't able to race it a year ago due to some broadcasting obligations, and he lives about an hour and 45 minutes from this racetrack, and he's going to try to see if he can get himself his second career Truck Series win on a road course.
It's just really cool to see Parker out there. We know how good he is on the road courses. This is his town, and being a part of this race and behind the wheel and being able to mix it up with these guys, he's going to learn so much about this track real quickly here. They're just taking in so much right now, Todd. Just learning by the buckets how the truck reacts in different corners. And you can see Parker can get it done on a road course.
This is the Henderson Motorsports 75, the little team that could, and the run to the checkered flag when Parker got the victory for that team in operation. And it was a close one at the end. He burned down the house and celebrated for that organization. They also had success on the super speedways as well, but that road course triumph came just a few years ago. In fact, the anniversary of that win was just yesterday.
Well, Parker being a Connecticut native, it meant the world to him to become part of the group of the ownership of this racetrack. And you know, when you grow up in New England and you talk about Lime Rock Park, everybody smiles. If you're a race fan, you're very proud of what Lime Rock is, and I know Parker is.
Check out who's up top of the board.
Look at that. Imagine that.
Thomas Annunziata in that one truck. He was lightning fast yesterday in the ARCA race, got the win, and now right off the bat, first thing this morning, in a truck figuring it out.
Thomas making his second career start, first of the season. His first one came here 1 year ago where he finished 15th. Already on pace to seemingly better that effort, showing a lot of pace and speed in that truck right there.
Not hard to pick out that truck either, is it? Shop Tricon, beautiful paint scheme on that one truck. That is impressive that the kid jumped out there and was able to be the fastest truck on the track.
Talked about that win in the ARCA race yesterday, Mikey. Let's take a look at it, and it was in dominating fashion. Final margin of victory, nearly 10 seconds, but it did not come easy as there was some heavy fights for the lead throughout. Here he is on the front stretch, taking the top spot away from Tristan McKee on that approach to that first corner.
He led 59 laps yesterday of the 68 in that race, but you could tell how tight it was there. But when he got the lead, Todd, he just checked out. It was impressive.
It was impressive, but I got to tell you, Michael, at the end of that race, like the last 4 laps, he drove those laps as hard as he drove the first laps. He was sideways out of control. I'm just like, Thomas, slow down, man. You got this thing won. But great driver, understands road racing, has that background in road racing, and he even admitted he felt like he had an advantage over his competition. And you know, when you have as many laps around the road course, there's a lot of things that just come natural. Late turn-ins, how to brake and do all the right things, and he definitely had that yesterday. We'll see how he does today.
You can watch our scoring pylon. Connor Mozak now has put himself at the top of the board.
Connor Mozak, now the quickest here in practice for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Practice continues here from Lime Rock Park, this beautiful natural terrain road course, hosting the trucks for the second time.
just made that's Colin Brown. It just made him dive in there a little deeper than he wanted to, and around he went.
Yeah, it's hard to say what the spotter was telling him, you know, if he was inside or not, and obviously Graham erred to the side of giving him the space, but then a little too deep, got off the track. But fortunately, didn't back it into the tire wall down there, and just
you can tell he likes to have a little bit of fun. I talked to this kid yesterday, and what a season it's been in those Lamborghinis. School day pictures. No better place in America to take your picture than at Daytona.
And that was with his IMSA GTD car. He's also a multi-time winner in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo and the 2025 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Champion. Trying his hands at wrestling one of these trucks around this racetrack.
Todd, how fun does that look? Coming off turn 7, everybody you watch just slides off there, the back end hanging out.
I can't even imagine what it's like to come down that hill. You know, they do have to lift a little bit, but you have to keep that corner speed up and to get down there front straightaway. And you know, we watched the ARCA cars yesterday. They all come through there sideways. It looks like our truckers are doing the same thing.
And I'm just having the best time this morning in the world watching our scoring pylon. Look at all the different trucks that have made their way to the top in this session. Chandler Smith is there now. We talked about Kligerman. Ty Majeski took a turn at the top. Ben Rhodes creeping up there with some speed, and there's our man Caden Honeycutt. Knew he would be near the top. Just such competitive racing. Landon Lewis in the 45, top 10 there.
Well, I think the more laps these guys get, I don't know if it's so much the rubber being put down, grip coming up, but I think the more laps you get, the more you figure out the braking zone, how deep you can go in, how quick you can get back to the throttle. You just start fine-tuning everything that makes you go fast on a road course, and we're going to see those guys creeping up all the time.
And you know, Eric, the tires have a tremendous amount of fall off. Last year, nearly 4 seconds over the course of a run. And so the fact that they're learning and figuring it out, and they get faster and faster on the older and more worn tires, that's impressive that they're able to put together those lap times.
There are a couple of spots on the racetrack that was resurfaced, one of them being the exit of Big Bend at turn 2. So that is also something that may be a bit of a variance. And that's Ben Rhodes hustling that thing down the hill.
Nothing like putting it on the edge right there.
This is fun to watch.
Rhodes currently 6th in this session right now. For more on the 99, let's go to Caitlin.
Yeah, guys, you were noticing that he's starting to creep up the leaderboard there. He told his team he was happy with the front end, but he needed an adjustment on the rear of that truck. So when they came down pit lane, he said, I just want the rear to be more settled under braking. So his crew chief, Cale Gale, said he was going to take a pretty big swing at it with the track bar adjustment. But this was one of the drivers who was top 5 in this race a year ago and has had 6 top 10s and 9 road course races. So Ben Rhodes could be one to watch for today. Josh?
An update on our most recent winner here in the Truck Series, Lane Riggs in that 34 truck who got it done at San Diego. He went out, ran 6 laps so far. He's 10th on the board, but you see him getting some adjustments right there. Not happy with the truck during that first run. Told the team, first of all, the brakes in turn 1. He said when he got on the brakes, he wasn't sure where that truck was going to go. They need to make some adjustments with that. And then overall, he said he was tight in the early turns, loose in the later turns, but overall, it just felt like that back end of the 34 truck was wagging around. So they're been in the pits for a little while now, making some adjustments to get this 34 truck where it needs to be, guys.
Thanks, Josh. Despite the dissatisfaction, still in the top 10 right now on the speed charts. And Lane Riggs seems to know how to perform at racetracks that we may be visiting for the first or perhaps second time like we are this weekend. Let's go back to San Diego.
What a performance. Tyler Wright there in that 42. That was so sad.
Yeah,
I'm not supposed to be pulling for anyone, but wow, look at that. Just charging all the way to the checker. I love that Lane has that kind of drive to him. You know he's a great racer. What a role he's on right now too, Todd.
Well, the thing that really impresses me with Lane is, and it's a process over the last few years, how smart he's gotten behind the wheel, how good his racecraft has become. I actually got to talk with him a little bit at the airport the other day, and he understands that that's what's going to carry him through and hopefully win this championship.
Let's hop on board with him. We know he knows what he's doing. Maybe we can learn a little bit something. The racing school wheelhouse supported by Ford that is on that truck. Beautiful truck. Watch how busy he is. Not just shifting gears, but there's just constant wheel movement because of how wide and sweeping these turns are.
And this is the most fun part of the racetrack, this downhill, flat-out approach, slight lift to make sure the truck settles, and then you got to get back on the loud pedal as quickly as possible to carry that run down this long straightaway.
Well, you've been talking about he didn't like the way the back of the truck felt. It right there, it looks pretty good. They must have made some good adjustments.
Well, and that's what it's all about. A guy like Lane Riggs and just being able to communicate to his team what he needs to go faster. They come to pit road, make just slight adjustments, and he can get that thing right back in the wind.
Well, we watch him right there coming off of the big bend, and he was back steering a little bit, so maybe it's not quite as good as I thought it was.
He and crew chief Dylan Capello just have such a great relationship. They complete each other's sentences, have a lot of confidence in one another. How fun that looks, man. Another update too, Eric. New guy at the top of the scoring pylon, fastest truck in town.
But not for long.
Was Grant Enfinger.
We just rode on the fastest lap at the track right there. Lane Riggs takes it to the top.
Grant Enfinger had done that. We were on board as he crossed the alternate start finish line, and Lane Riggs is now the fastest cat in Connecticut.
And for comparison to last year, the fastest lap we saw in practice was set by Jordan Taylor, 54.0. Second off so far this year. Lane Riggs to the top.
I can. You can't spell American without it. During the Jeep Make This the Summer event, say I can.
57, becoming a hot spot for sports cars, eventually open wheel, and that trend continues all the way through not only this weekend, but this calendar year as we welcome you back to Lakeville, Connecticut as we continue with practice for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, with many of the drivers and teams trying to do all they can to assure they've got pace heading into qualifying as the fans continue to line the hillsides here with this session rolling on. As a matter of fact, this session is going to be paused as there is some debris out on the racetrack. So we'll have a moment to catch our breath. That's not good.
Yeah, there's a brake duct off the front end there. Somebody turned the wheel a little too sharp, grabbed the hose and yanked it off. Tire grabbed the hose.
Pretty cool there's no grandstands here, huh, Eric? You just get you a lawn chair and find you a spot on the side of the hill and take in some NASCAR racing. What a great weekend.
Yeah, the other cool facet of the Speedway, usually just traditional general admission ticket, allows you to walk about and find your favorite viewing area or to watch some of these trucks tackle the racetrack from different perspectives and vantage points. But this year, a GA ticket gets you in the garage area, access that you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else.
Beautiful countryside, beautiful racetrack. And the word that I hear more when I talk to the drivers than any other is a 3-letter word: fun.
Fun.
People just, and you could tell by the way they bounce off these corners and slide, it looks like fun.
Well, we watched that lap with the road with Lane Riggs there, and first time I'd ever really actually saw a whole lap in the truck, and it looks like fun. I mean, there's a lot of different characteristics. A little fast corner through Big Bend, slow through 2, 3, 4, up over a hill, down a hill. I mean, what more could you want?
And as we look at some of these sights and sounds of this racetrack, it would be hard to believe that just 1 week ago, this place was nearly ravaged by a tremendous storm that rolled through the area. In fact, many in the surrounding areas were without power for several days, including the racetrack. I mean, this was just taken last week. There was wind speeds up to 70 miles an hour. Both of the main roads that lead up to the ticket booths at the racetrack, like right there, completely impassable. They didn't get power restored until Wednesday, and by the time the trucks rolled in on Thursday afternoon for the Hall of Parade, the place was back in perfect condition. What a job by everyone at Lime Rock Park and all the volunteers who helped aid that cleanup effort. You can't even tell that was what that place looked like a week ago.
And those fans were looking at that closely too, saying, can we get our campers in there? Are we going to be able to go racing this weekend? And just a lot of hard work and effort by the whole community to make this come together.
Well, we know that Lane Riggs has the best single lap turned in this practice session thus far. Let's look at the 5-lap averages, or the best 5-lap averages. We were talking about fall off. The quick time right now is at about a 55.0. This 5-lap average there in the ballpark, about a half a second off.
Well, and Todd, I look at that and think of how tight the competition is. You know, these trucks are running around a 7-turn, 1.5-mile road course, and over 5 laps just separated by, a little over a tenth of a second. It just shows you how good these guys are.
Well, I look at that, and I look at Front Row Motorsports. Both trucks at the top, both with the exact same average. They have got something going on in the road courses. But great to see Parker up on that list, too.
It's just a really competitive practice session that we've been able to watch and entertaining. Just going to tell you how much fun, again, it's going to be when we go racing this afternoon.
Well, they've cleaned up the debris on the racetrack already, and the trucks will get a chance to roll back out with just about 25 minutes left to go in this session.
There's one of the fastest trucks here this morning. Grant Enfinger, second so far. Caitlin, what are they saying in that 9 pit?
Yeah, he's actually pretty happy. He said, I don't think we need a huge adjustment. It's 3 to 4 numbers laterally freer than we should be, but he said it's turning good with the exception to 3. So he was 11th here a year ago, hoping for a better result given the fact they've only had one top 5 performance so far this season. Now for Ty Majeski in that 88, we talked about him earlier. He said, I can't afford to hurt my right-handers right now. I am tight though in 5 up the hill. So the team was going to make a shock adjustment, but they couldn't get it just the right way, so they elected to leave it alone on that 88, guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. And, going back to the number 9 of Enfinger, I mean, he is only 5 points behind the chase cutoff for 10th in the standings right now. He's only had one top 10 finish in the last 8 races. He has to find some momentum and turn it around. And so far, it appears that this could be the weekend it happens.
This is a guy you'll be talking about before the checker flag falls this afternoon. I can guarantee it. Caden Honeycutt is such a talented young racer. I like the way that thing bounces down the straightaway too, Todd.
Well, I was watching that thing coming through turn 7, and to me it looked...
Is that a little excessive?
That was a little excessive, yeah. The front of that thing was really bouncing up and down. It's, I haven't seen that out in any of the other trucks, but you know, the one thing about crew chief Scott Zipadelli is he prides himself in having good shot combination, and I think that we've seen that this year on their length of their runs and how good they are at their runs. So he's pretty good at it.
So practice is going to continue. If you're joining us on FS2, jump on over to FS1 for the continuation of practice and qualifying from Lime Rock Park.
And Doug.
That name.
It offers us a chance to welcome you back into the broadcast booth alongside of Daytona 500 champion Michael Waltrip, Truck Series titleist Todd Bodine. I'm Eric Brennan, and good morning to everyone here. It's been an eventful session up to this point. Still have about half of it left to go. We've seen a lot of mistakes. We've also seen a lot of familiar names up towards the top of the charts.
Yeah, but what Michael said earlier, it's been interesting, is keep rotating those guys at the top. And I think, Michael, these guys are getting used to the track, and the tires have so much fall off. To see those guys go back to the top, that's really interesting. Like right there with Grant, before he went out, he was third on the board and went back to the top of the list. Unfortunately, got off the track.
And Colin Brown's the fastest Ram so far in this session. He's in 20th position. But I'm telling you, Todd, from what I've seen in this session, it wouldn't be surprising at all to me to see that Ram jump up in the top 10. You can make some adjustments, make some moves, and get your truck that much more speed.
And we saw how close the field was in the 5-lap averages. I think this race is going to be an absolute barn burner. Now, as far as the racetrack, very unique road course, almost a short track from the road course racing landscape. Todd, take us for a ride.
Well, turn one, you get down in there. That's probably the best passing zone, braking spot in the track. 2, 3, 4, probably the slowest. Not a lot of passing, but you got to carry that speed through there.
And when you hit turn 5, the uphill, guess what you're going to do next, Eric? You're going to go down to West Bend and then head downhill to turn 7. That's where Grant Enfinger just aggressively left the racetrack and went off into the dirt. So just a very, Todd, you said it best. To me, it is a short track of road courses, and it's a lot of fun to attack.
Here's our track description presented by Craftsman. As you can see, just under 1.5 miles for the 7 turns. Only one left-handed corner, but that front straightaway 40 feet wide. After that big bend, it funnels down pretty aggressively. And most of the elevation change that this track offers, all in the second half of the lap at this carved-out facility in the beautiful mountainous portion of Lakeview, Connecticut.
It's interesting that there's only one left-hand corner on this racetrack, so when your driver says, I'm not good in that left-hand corner, the crew chief says, deal with it.
Exactly. Too bad.
We got to get the rest of the road fixed up for you. We're not going to worry about that one right now.
You know, in the old days, Michael, when we had all right-handers in the road courses, we'd set our cars and trucks up for the right-handers, but today's rule package, the way NASCAR has it, you really can't do that. So to be off in one, you're going to probably be off a little than the others.
There's where Grant left the track right there. You can see the distance it is out there to that tire wall. Maybe he did get that thing stopped before he got there. I hope so, because it's really fast, but they towed it off, so we'll have to get a report in a little bit from pit road.
Let's get a report on our Watkins Glen winner, Caden Honeycutt. Here's Josh.
Yeah, and Caden Honeycutt currently second in the points, trying to chase down Lane Riggs in that 34 for the points lead. I came over the radio a little while ago talking about how his truck is, and he told the team that he was having trouble getting it to turn under braking. They've made a number of adjustments so far to get that truck better. The good news is crew chief Scott Zipadelli told him overall that he feels good about where they are. The long run especially is good with that truck. The one thing they want is a little more speed in that truck, but this truck trending in the right direction so far during this practice session. The team told him, though, he's trending a little bit to the right in terms 3 and 4. They told him to do what you do on iRacing to improve that. Mikey and Todd, I can't imagine that people told you to do what you did on iRacing during your time driving.
No, I never had iRacing, that's for sure. But, you know, it's the one thing we've always seen out of this 11 truck. Scott Zipadelli setups run on the long run. Sometimes they might not have that short run speed, but the long run, they're going to be there at the end.
And you said that, Todd, and interesting, I'm looking at the best 10-lap average, and he's second quick there, just behind Connor Mosak. So it does have long-run speed early in this session as they work through some adjustments and changes. And I guarantee you, the way that front end was bouncing around, that did not surprise Zipadelli at all. He knows how to be aggressive with the setup. Now, will they have to tweak it? Possibly. But that was just part of his plan to go out there and try to figure out the best speed for that 11.
Honeycutt supporting some new colors for the Mobil 1 scheme this weekend. Beautiful looking ride for him.
That's one of the coolest things to do. If I had a GA ticket, as you said, Eric, and I could walk in that garage area, just looking at the beauty of those race trucks, it's fascinating to me to see within the rules how those teams bend those bodies around just where they need to be bent here and there. But the paint schemes, the livery on the trucks, it's just beautiful.
Well, the one thing that you do as a a crew chief in racing is you don't read what the rule book says you can't do. You read what the rule book doesn't say you can't do. So you push that gray area and you make them as fast as you can. There's Stuart Friesen.
He got some reps yesterday in that ARCA race.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good day for Stuart. Ended up, I think, 13th. A little loose like it was right there. His ARCA car yesterday was sideways the whole race. So, but Stuart wanted to run the race to get some more laps, try to get better here.
Remember, it was just last summer he was involved in that terrible dirt modified wreck that sidelined him for pretty much the remainder of the 2025 Truck Series season. Not only has he returned with a lot of power and prowess so far this year on the truck side, but he's already racked up several dirt modified wins in 2026 as well, hoping to find his first Truck Series win on a road course. Well, the fastest man in practice also is the reason for our most recent stoppage. Grant Enfingers with Caitlin.
Yes, he's just been checked and released from the infield care center, showing a lot of promise before you went off track there. What were you experiencing in the truck?
Yeah, the truck, I think it's pretty good. I heard a little clicking in turn 6. I should have just shut it down then. But I think we just got a left front tire down and it went out into turn 7. So fortunately, I don't think there's a lot of damage. And I feel like we have a pretty good Grant County Motor Chevrolet. So hopefully we can get it fixed back up for qualifying.
Grant Enfinger still feeling optimistic here today, guys.
That's great. You know, we wondered how it could have exited so quickly. Obviously, left front tire would do just that in that hard right, fast turn where he left the track. So he did get it woed down before he got out into the wall too hard. See if we can get another look at it. You see the front of the truck, Todd. It's in great shape. He's going to be able to get back on the road.
Getting all the way to the top side of your picture, that's the fast downhill right-hander. And somehow he was able to get it stopped before clobbering the tire barrier.
Well, I'll tell you how he got it stopped. That splitter was dug into the dirt. That was acting like an air brake.
And I can't understand how it didn't just wrap under. We've seen those splitters.
Yeah, very lucky it didn't.
We'll hop on board the Toyota Racing onboard from the front bumper of Gio Ruggiero. 15 minutes left to go in practice for the trucks here at Lime Rock, and qualifying on the horizon. Enfingers still at the top of the charts.
You're done mopping, and you might think your floors are clean.
But not from where we're standing.
in Lime Rock, Connecticut. You're looking at Corey LaJoy in the Ram number 10 for Colleague Racing.
And he's looking at Louis Foster in the 76 for Spencer Boyd, that beautiful drop light truck. Both those trucks trying to figure things out.
Foster, the IndyCar veteran, former Indy Next champion, did so in 2024. Off weekend for IndyCar before they head to Nashville, which you can see on Fox.
Talked to Louis yesterday, and he said, I've never sat in a truck and I've never raced at Lime Rock, so I got a lot to take in. I'll go to pit road here. Check out his bio.
22-year-old from England. Son of the former British Touring Car Championship racer Nick Foster. Transitioned his talent to the open wheel ranks. We mentioned a dominant 2024 Indy Next title before being propelled up into IndyCar, where he took Rookie of the Year honors last season. And he is continuing his career with the Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan team in 2026. And again, their next race is going to be on the Oval in Nashville next Sunday.
And he made it clear to me that this is just an opportunity to have some fun. He's totally focused on his IndyCar efforts. That's what his world is all about. But when he got this opportunity, Spencer Boyd, we always talk about the job that he does in marketing and making sure he has sponsors on the side of his truck to keep him going, trying to, propel this team up to the front. Drop light partners with Louis as well, so they came together for this opportunity.
That team had a great run going at San Diego with Nathan Nicholson at the wheel before being involved in a late crash. Here's another one of the Ram competitors, Minnie Tyrell.
After we got done watching Corey LaJoy, now watch Minnie Tyrell and the Ram trucks. I think their basic setup for these trucks is not quite there. Both trucks, both guys, both drivers, the backs of the trucks are just not stuck to the racetrack. We watched Corey just slide in the back through every corner, and it looks like Minnie's got the exact same problem. So
he's coming right to pit road, Todd. You're right. Do they have a tool bag that's big enough to fix this truck when you come to the racetrack without the setup that you need, or what do you think about that?
It's really difficult. The old adage is you got what you got when you get there. There's very few adjustments that when you're that far off that you can make. Something in the race you do is lower the rear tire pressure, drop the track bar, get some rear grip in it. And when you're this far off and sliding like they were, that's not going to fix it. You need a different spring or a different shock. So they're in trouble for the race.
It's Frankie Muniz. That 20th place effort at San Diego came after a spin, so a good rebound effort for Frankie. Season best this year with 16th at the season opening round at Daytona as well.
That was impressive, though, to run top 20 out at San Diego. I was really thinking that maybe when he came here to Lime Rock, could use that momentum, that information, and have some speed. But right now, it isn't there for his team.
Well, San Diego, there was a point where he was actually racing guys in the top 15. I mean, very competitive, had a really good truck. Just didn't get the finish they deserved.
Let's jump on board our Toyota Racing onboard with Gio Ruggiero, who has been steadily improving in terms of road course efforts. And we get to see the driver at work as he starts to head up the hill.
This is just entertaining to me to watch these guys. Look how narrow that road is, Todd. You look for a little bit of exit room in case something goes wrong, but you're in the dirt as soon as you're off the line here at Lime Rock.
And that's one of the dangers you get with Lime Rock is getting off track, especially at turn 7. You're trying to carry all that speed on the front straightaway, and we'll see it over and over in the race. The dirt flying up off those left side tires on that exit.
Another problem for Graham Doyle, this time opposite end of the racetrack. If you weren't with us earlier, he went for a bit of a slide over at Big Bend. This time, he found a bit of an issue over at the top of the uphill portion.
Oh,
here's what happened.
That'll get your attention on entry. The thing wheel hopped, I'm sure, Todd, and he did a good job of letting off the brakes and just battling that thing to get it under control. No damage. He's learning. First time he's been in a truck or at Lime Rock. And so it's going to be a lot to learn.
Last few minutes for teams to see what they've got before qualifying. More to come from Lime Rock.
happen, you look at the splitters, the front of the trucks, and some of them are way up in the air, some of them are down, like that right there, Lane Riggs, down, and Tanner Smith down. The faster trucks are not raising up as high as the other trucks. And what caught my eye with this was watching those Ram trucks come up over the hill and how high their nose is. We should just see a shot here. But we get that really tells you, what really makes the difference. And I would say in any race course, not just road course, but on ovals also, is the shock package. And that shock is what controls the tire and keeps it on the racetrack. You see right there, the 11 truck really down. Now look how high that Ram truck was. That just tells you that the good trucks have more what's called rebound, which holds the front of the truck down.
We'll ask you, how big does your tool bag need to be if you're going to fix that? Can't the Ram teams just watch what the others are doing and put different shocks on?
Well, they can, and unless they have somebody back there watching this,
they do.
They're not going to know that their trucks are doing that. It's really, for a driver, especially a younger driver, it's hard to tell the crew chief that that's the problem, because they don't really know. The driver coming up over that hill, he doesn't know how high the front of his truck. He might be able to tell the difference between one shock and the other, but that's something that the crew chiefs and the shocks themselves, they have adjusters on them. You can build a shock with a compression side adjuster or a rebound, so it just depends what they have in it.
Good news for Ram is that their two best finishes this season have come on road courses. So maybe once we get to race time, some of that race strategy and the ability to get to the finish will parlay into a solid result as well, as that's Kligerman dipping a wheel off.
I was just going to say, the other interesting thing watching them come over that hill is how out of control they actually are.
And look at that. He went to fourth quick. These guys are putting on tires, I believe, Todd, making some qualifying runs here late. You can see the top of the pylon is just getting mixed up every time a truck passes the start-finish. Ben Rhodes up to third, Mosak to second.
And this is probably a good time to point out that we are utilizing the alternate start-finish line, which is pretty much towards the end of that section. We've been watching the drivers come up over the hill as we ride on board with Lane Riggs to see what he could do with our Ford Racing onboard.
Yeah, this is a great ride here this morning, isn't it, Todd? Get to really dive into this truck as he hits the left-hander here, turn 3.
Slowest portion of the track through here. It's about roll speed, just keeping it as fast as you can. We'll listen up over this hill and see if he comes off the ground.
Look at him, one-handed.
You hear that tire spin as rear tires come over the hill.
And here's that alternate start-finish line, so we'll see if Riggs improves right about here. As the red flag is displayed with the clock running to 0, Riggs completes the lap, but does not improve the time that he laid down much earlier in the session.
Michael, one thing I did notice about Lane versus Gio, going up that hill, Gio stayed in third gear. Lane always came back to second gear. It's very interesting, the two different ways of doing that.
So, Chandler Smith, the fastest in what was a tough and challenging practice session for a few drivers. Towards the end, another issue for Graham Doyle, qualifying up next.
They say tennis is great for
Caitlin Vinci is with one of the IndyCar invaders we've got in the field today.
Yeah.
Opportunity from drop play and obviously being with Spencer Boyd and his team. We're looking forward to it.
It's great to have you here. Enjoy it. Josh?
Standing by with Christian Eckes, who is in an uphill battle today. We know you suffered that grade 3 lateral sprain last week in that left foot, stepped in a hole, leaving San Diego, an unfortunate injury. You're toughing this one out. So right now, how are you feeling and what are the biggest challenges for you in the truck?
I'm feeling like it's not a very good story that I'm sitting here in a boot, but yeah, I feel fine in the car. I wish our Napa Auto Care Chevy was a little bit better, but Dave Owens and the guys are going to make some good adjustments here, and hopefully we'll qualify. It was definitely tough to pass in practice, so need to qualify well.
No backup driver for Christian Eckes. He told me he has every intention of racing this complete race, guys.
And we see Christian trying to work his way through this weekend, also still looking for first win of the season, but he is still solidly in a good spot in the chase standings. Chandler Smith paced practice. We'll see if he could put front row racing on the pole next.
This is funny. Chandler Smith and his crew chief, Jonathan Leonard. Sometimes words just aren't enough. Look how animated Chandler gets. He's, okay, their truck is doing. It's kind of hilarious.
Pretty sure there's 33 total drivers trying to get that same message across to their crew chiefs. Ben Rhodes had a pretty solid practice session. He's standing by with Caitlin.
Yeah, Eric, one of the teams that made a series of adjustments throughout the course of practice. How satisfied were you with the 99 by the end?
Yeah, our form paint F-150, we were making gains on it. It's funny, this place has so many elevation changes, and you've got a good mix of fast speed and low speed that you can never quite get it 100% right, but you do all you can to balance that out. So we made a lot of adjustments, and we're actually going back on some, just trying to find the right balance. But I was pretty happy with our mock run speed. That's really important to get a good qualifying position here. You know, Lime Rock is just a high-speed road course, so it can be tough to pass at times.
Well, Ben Rhodes was P3 there on the leaderboard after practice as he approaches qualifying next. Guys?
Ben Rhodes with 3 top 10s in the last 7 races. Looking to try to back up an 8th place effort at San Diego after having to start in the rear. He'll look to start further forward here at Lime Rock with qualifying coming up for the trucks at Lime Rock Park.
The World Cup quarterfinals today on Fox. Holland and Norway.
Norway's incredible run continues.
Take on Kane in England. Then after an epic comeback,
the savior for Argentina.
Messi and Argentina face Switzerland.
Lime Rock Park as America's most beautiful road course, and I think it is pretty easy to see why. This natural terrain facility that has been in operation for several decades, still in its infancy with the relationship of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and you can see we've got a beautiful day on tap to run this race. But first, we have to set the field, and here is how we are going to do it. Field's going to be divided into 2 groups, 20-minute time session for each group, and the fastest will earn the pole for the race, which track position has been the one thing that everyone has been adamant is going to be required to run well here today. And just as we've done at many of our road course races, the start-finish line for the session's in a bit of a different spot than what we'll see later today.
And NASCAR just does that to make it easier on the teams and drivers. You finish your lap right there and then come to pit road. If you went to the start-finish line, you'd have to go all the way back around. So that's the reason why the start-finish line's there. And you know, Todd, we talked about the one word we've heard mostly this weekend. It's been fun, but there's another term that I've heard equally as often, and that is track position, because it's so difficult to pass here on this fast little tight racetrack. So you want to get qualified up front. The delta between where you start and where you finish was somewhere around two positions you might gain. But then we saw a lot of people go off the racetrack late trying to get those 2 positions and lost a lot of ground. So it's just going to be really interesting to see who's got the speed in this session, who's able to run these lines properly.
Well, what's hard about qualifying on a road course is you're trying to get every little bit out of that truck, out of those tires. And if you step over the edge, you have absolutely ruined the whole lap. And you got to try to get another one. So my philosophy qualifying on a road course was just hit your marks. Just do everything right. Don't try to get more than that truck's going to give you.
And with these combined group efforts, you're also at the mercy of your competition should there be an incident or a yellow flag or a stoppage. If you happen to be on your flying run and you don't get a chance to complete that lap, something for these teams to consider as to when they send their drivers out.
Whoa, look how controlled that truck. That was sexy, wasn't it? The way you held that line off there. Man, I just love to watch these trucks at this racetrack.
I'm glad I wasn't sitting in that thing.
I kind of wanted to be. It looked like a lot of fun. But I mean, I've been sitting in it if he was driving. Look at that lap time, 54:03.
Thomas was used to being sideways yesterday at that ARCA car, so he had it under control.
Bit of a home race for Thomas, too, from Colts Neck, New Jersey. About a 3-hour commute from Lime Rock back to his hometown. Had a lot of friends and family at the track with him yesterday to celebrate that ARCA win, hoping to back it up with a weekend sweep.
You sound like you might be from around here, too.
I am. A little bit further drive to Staten Island, New York, but
I'm from Kentucky. I don't know if you can tell or not.
Todd and I are representing New York quite well today, I think.
That's it. Upstate and the city.
Cole Butcher.
Oh. Stay on there, Cole. There you go. That's exactly what I was talking about, though. He was back in the throttle trying to keep that speed up and just ran out of racetrack.
Certainly a different type of discipline than what Cole has cut his teeth doing. The very accomplished short track racer. Finished 15th at San Diego. That was his best finish since 10th at Rockingham, with 7 races being run in between.
I just love this kid's spirit. He and Rich Lucius work so well together, and you can tell, Todd, he's going for it. You know, you're talking about just taking what the truck will give you. He took that and a little bit more, and he's going to be 4th quick so far. Good lap.
Talked to Cole at the Snowball Derby last year. He actually had to sit out several races. He had to have corrective surgery for AFib, and he said that it made him appreciate the opportunity he has to run races, let alone the full-time chance on the Truck Series side.
Louis Foster.
Louis taking a second lap. He's already posted the time.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he needed to get a little more speed out of it than that.
There's Jackson Lee. Enjoying this chance to get out here and mix it up. Always has that California
Frankie pulled right out in front of him there.
That's his teammate too.
Yeah.
Bad communication.
Not good.
His sponsor, California Closets. Over 30 guests are going to be in attendance watching on the Hummel Hill hospitality area between turns 6 and 7. Rooting on Jackson in what is his final scheduled start of the season. There is some optimism that maybe he can get a chance on an oval, and he is hoping, of course, to bring on additional partners next year to run a more expanded schedule as he kind of transitions from the open wheel and sports car world over to the NASCAR side.
He had some good pace at St. Pete when he raced. I was really impressed with what he was able to do, and I think there's a lot of potential for Jackson. Just getting these opportunities means the world to him.
Yeah, Frankie pulling out in front of him cost him pretty big right there. 56.19 versus 54 flat. That's.
Here's a very interesting story. Driver who has a very diverse resume and background, does not come from racing family primarily. He's third on the charts right now. But when you talk about someone who has versatility in their arsenal, this driver has done road racing, dirt tracks, rally, off-road, endurance, and now trying his hand at NASCAR. And he's been doing a pretty solid job in the Nice Motorsports 42 so far this weekend.
And also did a solid job in his start earlier this season with an 11th at St. Pete. So that was impressive. He's a kid that I think's got a lot of potential.
I mean, all those different vehicles, and he hasn't raced monster trucks or anything?
I'm sure it's on the bucket list.
Come on now.
How about the true hometown hero, Parker Kligerman?
Watch this. Right to the edge.
Got everything on that corner.
That was precision. Taking the green flag back there between 6 and 7 on his flyer here. And I like what I saw there on 7. I mean, that was a perfect corner. He maximized. He was a little bit.
Stop on the calendar for Trans Am on the Memorial Day holiday weekend. And here's a look at how the race ended with drivers like that of Mozak and Ben Mayer celebrating podium efforts. Along with Alon Day, who won in his class, Alon ran the ARCA race here last year. So familiarity with this venue seems to go a long way.
And the Trans Am cars are about as similar as you're going to get to driving a truck around here. They got similar horsepower. They definitely handle a little better, got a little more downforce, a little more tire, but the speed is pretty comparable.
Fastest cat in town right there, Todd. Connor Mozak to the top.
Mozak to the top of the charts in Group 1. 13 minutes left to go. as the fans continue to pack this racetrack in what is going to be a great race later on this afternoon. Let's go to Josh.
Standing by with Chandler Smith and talking with your crew chief earlier, John Leonard told me that road courses had been an issue for you guys in the past, but they've become some of your best courses this year. How do you feel about today after practice, though?
I feel pretty solid. I feel like our number 38 Ford F-150 is pretty close to where it needs to be for the race. We're probably a few adjustments away from being really good right now. I feel like we're solid. So nevertheless, I am confident in everybody on my number 38 team to make the right adjustments going into the race. We'll see. It was pretty difficult to pass here last year in the race, so qualifying here is going to be really important. Establishing track position early on, getting free positions and going out here and putting down a good lap, I think is going to be critical. And so just looking forward to it. And the fan base out here is incredible. I mean, all the fans that showed up already. It's so cool to see all the campers and stuff. It's crazy. I remember last year we came here, how filled up this place was. And the early morning, it's already getting filled up. So it's cool to be up here again.
Appreciate it and good luck, Chandler.
Thanks, Josh. Chandler comes into this race third in championship points. As the lone driver on the racetrack right now, Andres Perez, who is currently the seventh fastest in this session, had quite the moment off the final corner down the hill to the front stretch. Watch this.
I like watching.
Yeah, we're going to see this quite a bit during a race, for sure. Getting everything you could off of that corner, like we talked about, getting on that front straightaway. It's very important.
Can I give you an update before we go to break, Eric? It's Colin Brown. I just texted him. He doesn't want to be called Braun. A.
Well, I was
and
wrong
B. B. You didn't say that on air. Nobody knows you were wrong.
I was wrong.
And B.
I'll admit it. I'll admit it.
He has an axle seal that went out, and that's why he won't be able to qualify. And he thinks it's going to be very exciting, him coming from the back, because he is a professional road racer.
Yes, he is. Very good road racer.
It'll be fun to watch Colin Brown. It'll be fun to watch the rest of this session as we come back to Live Rock to wrap up Group 1 in qualifying.
The 3 for me, only at Chili's, just got crispier with the big crispy chicken sandwich that's way bigger than McDonald's McCrispy. Huh, Chili's just out here dominating fast food again? Yeah, that tracks. This Chili's 3 for me is the best $10.99 you can eat.
We know why you've put off your best smile. The time, the cost, the anxiety. That's why Aspen Dental is changing how dental
wrestle his car to the main straightaway. Truck to the main straightaway.
His truck, yeah. He's fourth on the board now, trying to improve it. I don't think now he's going to get the lap after that corner. It just kills the front straightaway speed.
Yeah, that's what that corner is all about, is momentum. You want to keep up all you can so you can get on down the front straightaway with your top speed. You're right, that just runs the whole thing. He's not giving up, though.
The lap that Mozak put together to be at the top of the charts, 4+ tenths quicker than what he ran in practice. A pretty big pickup for him as we watch Ankrum continue to fight that thing up the hill.
Is that considered A for effort? Very, very aggressive, trying to pick up a little bit of speed. Had a decent run already in the book, just wanted to get a little bit more.
Yeah, it's almost a full second off of his fast time.
Here's Thomas. There we go again. Oh, he did it. Hold on to her.
I hold my breath every time they come off.
How many times are we going to say, oh, in this session? And that's what we've done it before, Todd. We know what it's like, just right on the edge, the ragged edge of control. Knowing how important, that's why they do it, because that straightaway is so important.
Far coming through the left-hander and up to the right-hander. Nunziata tracking better than Mozak here with half a lap to go.
This incredible lap right here. Oh, didn't get through turn 5 very well. Lost a lot of time. But still, yep, I think he's got her. Yes, sir.
To the top, Hollywood in Group 1.
How about that? And how about running into all that dust too? Hoping there was nothing up there ahead of it.
It's impressive though. Second time out on those tires, and he picked up that much time. He must have made some really good adjustments, or he knew where he made mistakes the first time.
Hunter said, "I can do what you can do better." Mozak trying to best Nunziata, and that's a nice turn coming down there.
If you remember his first lap, Michael, he was out of control coming down through 7, so definitely.
And out of the gas. I remember hearing him burp the gas.
He's right with him right now. I feel like gained a little through Big Bend for sure.
I feel like when you get through 7 down the front and you get through Big Bend and the left-hander, if you've got it in the bag there, that's probably the most difficult part for me to.
It's going the wrong way.
To be able to keep that speed up. This is just fun looking there to me.
Kept it out of that little bit of a divot that's starting to build there. We'll see what Mozak could do here on what is going to be his final attempt to get back to the top, and he does it.
Does it.
Yeah.
He gained it all back up over that hill.
What a great lap.
6.
So Connor Mozak only lost control of this Group 1 qualifying session for just a moment as he is able to go back to the top of the charts as we are in the final 30 seconds of this session with only a couple of trucks on the racetrack, including Stuart Friesen, who's trying to improve on a 9th place position right now.
We didn't see Stuart much during practice. Kind of holding steady in the middle of the pack.
And you say that, Todd, and I look at the middle of the pack. In practice, there's just so many fast trucks.
Yes.
Great winners in the Truck Series. That's where they're running at, and that's because it's so competitive.
And Stewart did not improve his time or his position.
And as the clock runs out, Group 1 is in the books, and Connor Mozak is the quickest, with Group 2 getting set to roll.
On 3, Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to help people save hundreds. 1, 2, 3.
Liberty Mutual has your car insurance.
Nailed it! Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I can. You can't spell American without it. At the Ram, make this the summer.
What you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I can. You can't spell American without it. At the Ram, make this the summer sales event.
afternoon's race, the second ever for the trucks at Lime Rock Park. Fastest man in town hoping to hang on for his second career Truck Series pole is steady by with Josh.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see if Connor Mozak's time can hold up as group number 2 gets set to go out there. But what does it take to be able to put down a fast lap like you did and then back it up when you lost it, I think, for one lap to Annunziata and got it right back?
Yeah, it helps when you have a really fast truck. We got a really fast Friends of Jacqueline Foundation Silverado today, unloaded really well right off the truck, which is really nice. We hadn't really done that all year. I feel like sim work we did from the post-race last year here really paid off for this year because it was exactly, I feel like, what we simmed with, which helped us get off on the right foot, and then just kind of gives you that confidence to be able to push the truck as hard as it needs to be pushed. Brakes were really good, which always helps, at least for me, have good confidence on these road courses, something I feel like we haven't had all year on some of the other places we've been to. So hopefully that bodes well for later today. But yeah, the truck drove pretty solid in qualifying. I feel like there's a few things on our race runs we still could work on, but I think everybody seems to be probably fighting the same things.
Connor Mozak, the fastest in group number 1, Caitlin.
Another fast competitor, Jake Garcia and company, have emerged as very strong qualifiers in the 2026 campaign. What's the evaluation of your attempt?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly things I can improve on driving-wise. I think there's some things we can improve on with the car as well. But in terms of our road course stuff, this is certainly a big improvement over where we were in Watkins Glen and a huge improvement over what we had at San Diego as well. So really proud of our guys for improving. I think I worked hard to improve as well for this racetrack. And even in sim, I felt like, this was kind of one of the more solid tracks that I've been to as far as road courses go so far. So yeah, just thankful for the opportunity to come out here and do this. I want to thank Quanta Services for performance. I want to thank God for the beautiful weather out here today. Thankfully it's not raining, but yeah, just excited to be here and excited to get going for today's race.
Good luck to you. That is a good note. Beautiful weather here in Lime Rock, guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. Indeed, it has been that way all weekend long. As we take a look at the drivers who are going to partake in this second and final group session for 20 minutes. And there are some heavy hitters, especially considering the road course slate in 2026. They're going to be vying for pole.
Gil Ruggiero down into Big Bend, down to the bottom of the racetrack. He had a pretty conservative exit there to 7, Todd, it appeared.
Yeah, sometimes when you hit it just perfect, it looks very conservative. Hopefully that's what it was. But the one thing I noticed with Gio is versus Lane Riggs, the in-truck cameras, Gio keeps it in 3rd gear up over this hill right here where he keeps it in 3rd. Lane goes back to 2nd gear, so it's interesting, the 2 different driving styles there.
Gio recently announced that he has added to his workload for next week. He's going to run a Pro Late Model race with the Cars Tour Friday night before the Truck Series hits the track on Saturday afternoon, and he clocks in 4th.
So obviously, Michael, that was a very smooth turn 7
and a very
good lap.
Yeah, just a nice lap.
Yeah.
And how important is qualifying? We've talked about it a lot. This truck with a different shoe inside of it led 99 of 100 laps last year from the pole. Just an amazing control of a race. And he only lost the lead for about, look down into
problems,
1.
Turn 1. That's Ben Rhodes, I believe, who had a bit of an issue getting off into the first corner. It appears as though he may have just locked it up, which we saw many drivers do over the last 2 days here.
You see all that smoke? That's going to flat spot those tires.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to help things. Oh, let right front. That's so hard. You're trying to get all the braking you can, and as soon as you start turning, the inside tire has that tendency to want to lock up, and that's obviously what happened right there.
Ben was third fast in practice, so that just breaks your heart, doesn't it? He had a truck he could win the pole with, gave it all he had, but then just slid it in there too deep.
That lap puts him 12th of the trucks that have laid down a lap up to this point. Here's Graham Doyle, a driver that we spotlit during our practice coverage, making his Truck Series debut. Had an eventful practice session.
Yeah, he had the most eventful practice session. Not a lot of speed, but a lot of learning. Talked to Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton's mentored this kid since he started racing, and trying to help him figure all this out. But what a as Larry McReynolds would say, he's drinking through a fire hose right now. He's got a lot he's got to figure out. He and Louis Foster are kind of in the same situation, you know. Louis' first truck race ever and his first race here at Lime Rock, so it just shows you how difficult. They're world-class road racers, but how difficult this job is.
Even more difficult when you're nursing an injury like what Christian Eckes is trying to do here today as well, and here he is on the racetrack for the first time.
Christian was 24th in our little practice session, so he's looking for a lot of speed. We talked to him about his foot, and he said, I just wish my truck was faster.
Yeah, it looks like he's just not smooth. The back end is not stuck. And right there on the turn in, you saw him turn in, the back end come out from under him. It's just not comfortable when it's like that. It's hard to get any kind of speed.
At the top 10 for now for Eckes, who slots into 9th. As far as his teammate, he on the grid as well, Daniel Hemrick. He's trying to see where he can slot in.
Daniel had a great race out at San Diego. Shot to win at the end. Came up a little bit short. Out at San Diego. Shot to win at the end. Came up a little.
Starts with the best finish of second. As you said, San Diego runner-up, was also runner-up at Watkins Glen earlier this season as well.
He was top 5 in practice earlier, so a lot of speed. He'll go 5th here as well.
Check that Watkins Glen result was from 2025, so last year he was second at Watkins Glen.
Either way, he's a very accomplished, very good road racer.
And here we go, the Vegas favorite. Lane Riggs, who won both inaugural road course events that we have held in 2026. St. Petersburg earlier in the season, San Diego, and was running well at Watkins Glen before a late spin while running in the top 10 where he was unable to work his way back through the pack and was on the front row for a late restart here last year before going off course right where he is approaching now. Big Bend, turns 1 and 2.
Let's lay out and listen to this lap. Listen to him shift gears, work that gas. See what it takes to have a fast run here. Oh, you just want that gas so bad, don't you, Todd?
Yeah. He lost a little through 3 and 4, but gained it back off of 4. Down to second up over the hill.
I like second here, don't you?
I do too. He's right there at it. Can he get through 6? Good. Oh, he's right there. He got it to the top of the board.
Nice, and we were riding along with him. How cool is that? Great
really
work
cool
by our producers and directors. Everybody that pushes buttons back there that I don't know much about, I just know that was awesome.
It will not be a second career pole for Connor Mozak. He's still going to try to hold on to a front row opportunity, which is very important when it comes to some of these road course races, as 6 of the last 8 road course winners have started on the front row. And it's Front Row Racing's Lane Riggs who is the pace setter with about 12 plus minutes to go in the final group qualifying session at Lime Rock.
Can anybody come back and get him?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But I tell you, talking with Lane, even as accomplished he's been on road courses, the wins, the poles, everything he's done, running up front all the time, he still doesn't really consider himself a really good road racer. And I was like, Lane, why not? He said, I just have to be smoother. I have to be more consistent every lap. He's always searching to get better, which tells you why the kid is so good. He really wants to improve his craft every time out.
Landon Lewis was 19th quick in the session earlier. Be looking to pick up some speed.
One of the few trucks that come over the hill straight, Michael.
And he did a great job at San Diego. He finished top 5, so he's a road racing kid. Kevin Harvick mentors him. I talked about Burton and Graham Doyle.
Great lap, 5th position.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Landon is someone who has been mentoring young Keelan Harvick in his stock car career. They went testing together last Thursday before Keelan went down to Wake County and ran the short track last night.
Well, Landon's a great driver, but I'm going to give all the credit to his mentor, Mr. Ron Hornaday, the Horn Man. He's up there. He texted. He's up there, turn 5 watching.
See if this truck, the 14 Mini Tyrrell, what this truck looks like in qualifying trim. We talked earlier about maybe some adjustments there.
There's the horn. And Ronnie Jr. right next to him.
Hall of Famer just comes out and does his thing at the truck races. That's awesome, isn't it?
It is. It's so cool to have him around the truck series full time again with helping Landon. I think he's going to be around for a while. Oh, he's up in turn 6. I thought he was in turn 5.
Landon said that Ron comes to every race that he can to try to support him in his efforts. That's a good guy to have in your corner. As we'll watch Tyrrell wrap up his lap, coming back down the hill. And while we see this truck come back up the front straightaway, update on Ty Majeski. They made an unapproved adjustment after that truck got back to the pit lane. The time will stand, but he will not be offered up a chance to go back out and better it. So Majeski will have to rest his laurels on the 53.83 that he set, which currently has him in 4th. Track is going to go quiet here for a few moments, so we are going to step aside. Less than 10 minutes to go before we know the starting grid for Lime Rock's second go-around with the trucks.
Welcome to the game show Nobody Wants to Win. Spell.
Running of the Lime Rock Park event for the second year in a row for the tough truckers of NASCAR. And the track right now is relatively quiet. There are 7 minutes left to go. We just had one taker to the open speedway. As right now, Lane Riggs, who has been a bit of a road course king so far this season, sits atop the speed charts with Connor Mozak, your provisional front row.
Who will roll out there and make another pass at it? There's got to be some guys that feel like they left some time on the table. We know the tires will allow you to go faster on that second lap. We saw that earlier.
Yes, we do know that, Michael. Guys have gone faster the second time.
Looks like
I was wrong again.
Oh, you're not ever wrong, Todd.
Well, I said they weren't going to pick up the second time, but they did.
Well,
but I don't know if it's so much the tires, staying there, or they get the trucks better, or the driver hits the line, or the braking better, or something like that.
We got trucks on the track. Let's hope this is the 5 of Graham Doyle. Make sure he gets through 1 and 2 comfortably. It looks like a good turn there for him.
Yeah.
Said he had a rookie test, Todd, down at Sebring. So got to run some laps in this truck, figure it out. It's been a tough session for him. Felt pretty confident after his test in Sebring that he could be competitive at least. You know, you don't want to assume that you're going to be able to go out here and beat these truckers. We haven't seen anybody be able to do it very often. It's usually a regular that wins.
Well, and what the world that he comes from is totally different than sitting in this truck. For
yes,
sure.
it is. Racing a Lamborghini that's got a lot of adjustments, controls that he can work on his car with when he's driving it. He said the only button he could find in that truck was the one you push to talk on the radio.
Doyle's lap was his best of the session, but not enough to improve in terms of the running order. As we check in on Butterbean, who, when you talk about the bubble towards the chase standings, Queen is right there with 5 races left to go. He and this Ram organization are trying to see if they could gain. It would be 11 points to get him up to 10th here this weekend and have a shot to see if they can get this program into the chase for the championship.
That bubble is tight.
Very.
As we work toward the chase this year, golly, it's going to be so close to tough to see who gets in and out right now.
There's Chris Wright, driver who also has a pretty extensive road racing background that led him up to his stock car opportunities. And he finished the season best 13th at our last road race in San Diego, and that was even after being involved in a multi-car pileup on lap 49.
Looked like a decent lap getting up to speed there, coming up through. Well, that was the lap.
So up into the top 20 for Wright. Here is the second Friesen Hallmark truck. This is Wesley Slimp in the number 62. If you were with us yesterday for the ARCA Menards Series race, Ty Fredrickson was running in that contest. Wesley has been racing a late model out of Ty Fredrickson's camp and team in the Midwest to try to garner some more stock car racing experience, but he's back in this number 62 truck to see what he could do at Lime Rock.
Not a bad run, 23rd for Wesley. That's definitely better than where he was last year. I actually spotted for him down at St. Pete. Really nice young man, trying to get some experience.
Marietta, Georgia, in the Truck Series figuring this out. What's happening, Josh?
Standing by with Thomas Annunziata, currently 3rd on the board, won the race, the ARCA race yesterday here at Lime Rock. How you feeling about your chances of getting it done in the truck race?
Yeah, obviously, you know, the competition's stiff, so I'm excited. I raced with these guys last year, about a year ago. Second truck start. I'd like to be doing this more next year, hopefully, but yeah, you know, the car is really good. I was a bit nervous there in practice. I wasn't sure if we had enough, and I was still getting used to it, but they look like a good lap. I'm now nervously watching the screens, but yeah, everyone, you know, Jeremy did a great job, and the whole Tricon team did a great job. I'm just blessed to be here, honestly. It's cool to be able to do these weekends. This weekend's always the biggest race of my life every year, it seems, so hopefully it could, you know, run some more trucks next year.
Thomas looking to go back-to-back this weekend, Caitlin.
Yeah, and Tyler Ankrum, P11, currently on the leaderboard. How was your truck, and what do you think you got for the race?
I think we're pretty good. Truck on their up-to-speed lap came up in front of me, and they were slow, and I was forced to run their speed. The last 2 corners, I really feel like I should be about 7th right now. But, you know, that's part of it sometimes on these road courses. So I feel like we have good race pace. We lack a little bit of that raw speed. We just don't have it. We don't have the grip in the truck. So we'll be really looking for the long runs today, for the line of 18, for the line of 150 today. Big day for us, so a little bit of pressure to do good. So I think we'll be okay, though. I think we're going to end up 11th, 12th here, which is better than what we started last year, and you're close to being in the money and the points. So looking forward to the race this afternoon.
And we got more trucks on track, guys.
And heavy hitters, Honeycutt jumps to 3rd. He was in the green up until he got to about turn 5. Lost a little bit of time when he dipped a wheel off. And now we check in on Chandler Smith, who was the fastest in practice, 9th on the board right now as he comes down the hill, and he is not going to threaten Riggs for pole.
What a lap for Honeycutt. That was a big moment up at turn 5.
I'm willing to bet if he didn't have that moment, he'd probably be sitting on the pole right now.
You're right, Todd. I think that's exactly right.
Right here, he's just a little wide. He's like, oh,
look how far off the road he was.
This is Lane Riggs looking for more. Let's see if he can go faster yet. Way off the track there.
Knocked our cameras out. Yeah, brings it right in. It's
able to save the truck, though, and may be able to break quite the streak for this team. Front Row has had 5 road course wins as an organization, but has never won a road course pole. And the pole-winning truck was just put in some pretty serious danger right there.
Oh, man.
That is definitely danger.
And you have to wonder what the front splitter looks like on the left front of that truck. And if that time holds for Riggs and they have to make repairs, that could be quite the storyline to develop depending on what they find.
That happened, Todd, when he hit the curbing on the slight little right-hander before, and he came out onto the straightaway. It bounced him up off of the road.
Well, before we make it official, there is one truck still out on the racetrack as time expires. In qualifying for the Truck Series here at Lime Rock, it is Graham Doyle as they push Riggs' truck back into position. And they will certainly have to survey that left front of the race truck to see what they want to do. If there is any damage, perhaps, to that machine, as Doyle is going to round out our session.
I like Doyle's commitment. We've seen him have some issues, learning, getting better and better. Last lap was his fastest lap of the day. So he's getting better when it matters.
And he will move up to 27th.
There you go.
And that will conclude qualifying for the Truck Series at Lime Rock for the second year. And for the 5th time in his career, Lane Riggs has won the pole. It is his first pole this season. He did start up in first at Nashville, but that was because qualifying was rained out. 7th driver to win a pole in 2026, and his first career pole on a road course, and he will be joined on the front row by Connor Mozak, the fastest in Group 1 and 2, making up the front row here at Lime Rock. 4th career front row start for Mozak, but there's got to be some concern for the front row racing number 34 and Lane Riggs as we see him climb from the truck and celebrate the quick time. Let's take one more look at him dipping that wheel off here. This was the first runoff.
That was the start of it.
Right there.
The curb, and that just threw him across the racetrack. And you're not going to...
I mean, that was just a bit of a... He was going for it. You know, he needed to be as low to the right as he could, and just got a little bit too low. So far, it's all smiles, though. Everything must be okay.
He gave a thumbs up to the crew. It looks like things are good to go on that left front. Let's go down to Josh.
And Lane Riggs celebrates with the crew, wins the pole here at Lime Rock. Lane, you tried to get a little bit more there. Any concern with the truck? I just saw you evaluating. See how the splitter looks.
I just went Bahama four-wheeling. I'm used to doing that in the mud at home. But what a Wheelhouse Racing School Ford F-150. It was so great. I feel like I'm missing my marks, and it's still fast. So thank you to everybody at Front Row Motorsports. They're doing a great job. Like I said, Ford Racing is giving us all the tools that we need to go fast, and we're showing it week in and week out, especially at the road courses. So, yeah, I was trying to get a little more there. I was kind of disappointed in myself because I thought that other people were definitely going to go faster, and I know I didn't pick up. So, yeah, like I said, we're missing marks going off the racetrack, and we're still P1. That just shows how good this thing is. So thank you to everybody.
Lane Van Gisbergen on the pole here at Lime Rock.
Lane Van Rigsbergen.
There you go.
Certainly not what the competition wanted to see. Lane netting his first career Truck Series pole on a road course. Let's take a look at our starting grid with Riggs and Mozak, your front row.
Caden Honeycutt with a really nice lap late there in that session. Jake Garcia talked about his qualifying and how he felt good about his truck. Top 10 for him.
Landon Lewis, again, showing how good a racer he is.
You heard Tyler Ankrum talk about how confident he was in his truck, but getting held up a bit by another vehicle. Parker Klagerman back in row number 8.
See Grant Enfinger, he had that big off, but yet in the top 15. Comes a bunch of, here come the Rams.
They're just missing a little bit today, the Rams. It's tough when you're starting a new deal like this and you come to this racetrack or a new racetrack and trying to figure out what you need on those trucks to go fast.
On the back portion of the field, full-time drivers like Minnie Tyrell and Brendan Queen alongside with drivers trying to make the most of their opportunities and select starts, and Colin Brown not being able to make a start.
Come from the back. It'll be fun to watch.
Oh, listen to y'all. That's fun. Do it again. I'll join you.
Okay, do it again.
It'll be fun to watch.
It didn't work as good.
I think we've got our drinking word for race time later on today.
We do. It's going to be two of them. The word is fun, and we're going to have a lot of that. But then the term is track position. And we saw qualifying. We know how good Lane Riggs is. Can he do what Corey Heim did here a year ago and just dominate from that first starting position? That was an amazing performance. What will happen this afternoon? So many questions to be answered.
Well, Lane Riggs spent his off week at the beach with friends and family, came to the scenic Lime Rock Park and won his 5th career pole, first on a road course. And the field is now set for what is going to be a very entertaining afternoon at this 1.5-mile road course that is set and ready to host the Truck Series for the second time. Lane has been on an absolute flyer. And specifically, the last 5 races, Lane has been rolling.
Seems like when you have the success and things are just going right, it has that snowball effect and keeps rolling, and they have definitely been on a tear.
You know,
look at that average finish of 2. That's incredible.
You know who's right there nipping at him week in and week out, and again nipping at him in this practice or this qualifying session. Caden Honeycutt. He's going to have something to say about who's the champion at the end of this year.
We'll dive into that come race time. On behalf of our production team, Caitlin Vincey, Josh Sims, Michael Walker.